Sukihontu, good morning. Welcome to Venerable Dr. Karma's Dhamma talk on women in Buddhism. I'll pass the mic to her. Venerable Dr. Karma is an assistant professor at University of Nottingham, Malaysia. She has also been an ordained nun for many years. She's also the spiritual advisor of the Ti-Ratana Youth Buddhist section.
Which book are you all using? Which book are they using? I think I have a different. So the recording starting already? The started already. Oh, okay, okay. 3 minutes. Namo Buddhaya. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So, my dear brothers and sisters in the Dharma, very good morning and welcome to today's Dharma sharing. So, we begin with the Ti-Ratana Vandana, the Tisaranam. Okay, so let's put our palms together and then focus on our breath, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out with single pointed concentration. We will begin our chanting. So we chant together, yeah? Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So now we do the Tisarana. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi buddham saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami. So we will skip, we will do the, where's the 5 precepts? So we will do the Panchasila, page 1414. I will administer the 5 precepts. First, I will recite and then you recite after me, yeah? The 5 precepts. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Kamesu Miccācara Veramani Sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majapamadatana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Okay. So now we go to Ti-Ratana Vandana, salutations to the triple gem. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuntaro purisa dhammasarati sata deva manusana buddho bhagavati. Salutation to the Dhamma. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Opanayiko Pachatam Veditabo Vinyuhiti. Salutation to the Sangha. Supatipano Bhagavato Savaka Sangho. Ujupatipano Bhagavato Savaka Sangho. Nyaya patipano Bhagavato Savaka Sangho. Samichi patipano Bhagavato Savaka Sangho. Yadidang Chatari Purisa Yugani Atta Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho. Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anuntarang Punyang Ketang Lokasati. So we have completed, So we have completed the salutation to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and I believe that we can proceed with the Dhamma sharing. So once again, Namo Buddhaya, Tashidele, and good morning to my brothers and sisters who are in front of me, and also those who are online. So, and also I would like to also thank Ti-Ratana Lumbini Garden for inviting me and Venerable Dr. Tenzin Dadun to share the topic. So I don't know whether you all know what it means or not. Women in Buddhism 2 years on. Why 2 years on? No? So I don't know whether you all attended 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago, I was sitting here in June 2023, yeah, together with Venerable Sumangala and another one or two speakers. And we were talking about women in Buddhism overall, right? And then I presume, yeah, Brother Rain, that 2 years on, there must be some improvement, isn't it? Yeah. So it cannot be static. So everything is impermanent. So it's like a status report. Yeah. So is that correct, Brother Rain? You sort of want me to say something which is what happened in the past 2 years, some good things to celebrate, right? So before that, I would like to introduce the problem first and the good things and the not so good things that we have that we need to improve, right? And this one, you've got to understand the history, right? Once you understand a little bit of the history, then after that, we can move on to what is in the present day. So this Dhamma sharing is a little bit how to say, can be a bit academic also, but I try to make it very simple. So my name is Karma Tashi Children, right? So I think I'm actually a lecturer in Nottingham University, and I teach gender and environmental, what they call that, politics. So actually, I teach intersectional development and social justice. So I'm very passionate about justice for all. Yeah, it's not only for men, not only for women, for all, and also for all living beings. Yeah, so this is where I am coming from. So, wait now. Okay, right. So, just to let you all know, Buddhism is what they call it, one of the religions of the world, right? So, so in every religion also there is some gap that we see that we need to uh, close, yeah, in terms of gender inequality, right? So the Sustainable Goals, yeah, Development Goals (UN), which was made in 2015. So in 2015, until 2030, the Sustainable Development Goals is actually the whole world. We all have Sustainable Development Goals. All the countries in the world came together and it's one of the first times in history where all the countries in the world agreed. Yeah, usually they fight, but this time all the countries in the world agreed to actually, adopt the Sustainable Development Goals. We call it SDG, and SDG is important. So as a country, as a Malaysia, and also in the world, all the countries in the world are committed to advancing and closing all the gaps, advancing development, closing all the gaps related to poverty, related to gender, related to anything. Yeah, there's so many. There are 17 related to the environment. So there are so many areas for improvement which we actually really want to see, uh, sort of like uh, sorted. Yeah, we want to see resolved by 2030, especially climate change. And one of them, which is one special SDG, is for women. It's actually not only for women, it's for gender equality. So gender doesn't only mean man, it doesn't only mean woman. It can also mean the other gender, right? So in this world, Buddhism does not subscribe to the idea of single, like way of thinking, which means that all of us, like we have like a duality in our minds. If there's a white, there must be a black. If there's a right, there is a wrong. So we are so fixated with black, white, right, wrong, this and that. So it's like, even in this world, male, female, and that's it. Well, in this world, if you look at the world, if you look at the animals of fauna, you will see that there are various orientation, actually, basically sexual orientation. In animals, we call it sexual orientation, but in human beings, we call it gender orientation also, and sexual orientation also, because gender, if you want to understand gender is actually what the society tells you who you are, right? So basically, if you're a boy, you cannot cry, you got to be masculine, you got to be strong, you got to be very aggressive. These kinds of masculine traits are celebrated and imposed onto all boys. And then when they grow up, they are expected to live up to that kind of a gender expectation. And as for women, must be very petite, must cry a lot, must be very submissive, something like that, and then also do all the household work. Reproductive work is, in terms of our biological bodies as women, definitely women only can give birth, right? And women are the nurturing role. So that is biological. But when it comes to other things, like for example, when we are like confined to the kitchen without education, then that's called gender roles. Yeah, so it's gendered roles. So in this world, people are fighting for equality in order to bridge the gap between male and female, and also to fight for equality of the third gender. In fact, there are not only third gender, there are many gender sexual orientations, right? So as Buddhists, in Buddhism, we do not say that this is right, that is wrong. There is no such thing. We accept everything, so long as everybody, lives a harmless way, doesn't harm anybody else. So we don't judge anybody, because in nature also we see so many, different, like for example, snails also are, you know hermaphrodite, yeah. So which means that they actually, they do not conform to this special male female categories, like combination, right? So if we understand science, which actually Buddhism is actually very scientific. The Buddha's teaching is very scientific. If we understand the Buddha's teaching in terms of science, then we can cut off many superstitions. We, in our heads and our minds, is so much a superstition. For example, men can marry so many and women must only marry one person, like that, well, different countries in the world, for example, in Tibet, a woman can marry 5 men, yeah. So who's to say what is right and what is wrong? It's actually entirely up, depending on the circumstances that things happen. And the circumstances in the past, our grandmother's time, our grandmothers are in the kitchen. Maybe mother's time also didn't get much education, so they are in the kitchen because there is a nurturing role. But nowadays, we talk about choice. When we talk about equality, we are talking about choice. Whether women want to be confined to the kitchen, women do not mind being in the kitchen. In fact, being in the kitchen is very important, so that we can make our own food, and we are independent. Yeah, we know how to cook, means we can survive anywhere, and that's, boys also must learn. It's not only if the mother is not there, the sister is not there, then who will cook for you, right? So boys and girls both must learn and be in the kitchen. Both must learn how to wash the plates, cut the vegetables. Both must learn how to sweep the floor and all. Suppose one day that you're the only one left in the house, a boy, no mommy, no sister, no wife, no daughter, then how are you going to survive? Yeah. So that's why in the 21st century, we are trying to deconstruct these gendered roles, so that everybody can learn each other's roles. And in the end, it doesn't become gendered roles anymore, it just becomes a skill. And it's a skill that everybody needs. And in this country also, women's representation in parliament is still very low. And then also in as leaders, CEOs, etc., very low. But university women are becoming more in terms of the enrollment of women. Boys are not very much interested in studying academic studies these days, more to taking up a skill. Women more in the universities, etc. So you see, this gender scale is actually now flipping. So which means that many women are entering into the workforce. If many women are entering into the workforce, so they cannot always be in the kitchen. So the roles have to be shared. The responsibilities have to be shared. And only now, and many conflicts, divorces, many domestic violence incidences actually happen because of these fixed ideas about what a woman should do and what a man should be, what a woman should be, etc. And this is not new, yeah. And Buddhism also, in the past, we actually also have some issues. So let me take you through some basic issues, so that you understand where it comes from. But first, I want to tell you what the Buddha actually taught, which you all must really understand about equality. So first, the Buddha taught about anatta, yeah. Anatta means, there is the three characteristics. We call it the Ti-Ratana. Is one of the teachings of the Buddha. The Buddha said actually that the self, our self, is actually merely label one. So this is not really karma children sitting here. It's just a process. So I'm made out of the what? Earth, water, fire, wind, the four elements, yeah. Plus on top of that, my feelings, my perception, the sanskara, the habitual tendencies, and then the consciousness. These five aggregates is actually the human being, correct? But we think that we are also dependent on other beings. I'm dependent on you for my sustenance. You are dependent on me for the Dharma teaching. So we are all interdependent. Or I need to get food, water from outside. I don't have a nursery or a fridge inside myself. So I need oxygen, I need water, I need my daily sustenance, medicine, shelter, etc. And the whole universe comes together to provide me with that, correct? So if I can live without the external universe, then I'm totally independent. Is that true? Are we all totally like independent, like no need to eat one? No need to eat, no need water. We need, right? So which means that we are completely dependent. We today, if you just leave me in the jungle, okay, or leave me in the desert, lah, for example, I will die within 24 hours. That's because I don't know how to find food. I don't know how to find water. There's no water, no food, nothing. And my body will slowly shut down. Yeah, all my organs will fail. And that will be the end of karma children. Full stop. Yeah. So this is the teaching of the Buddha. The Buddha said, don't be so egoistic, because ourselves, we actually are just a tiny speck in the entire universe. So we all are actually, we are very dependent on others, and we must acknowledge our teachers, our parents, and all those people who make our lives so important, like the sisters who serve the drink just now. Without you all, things can't move on. Without brother, this won't happen. So without venerable, I won't be a sangha today. So many, 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 so much gratitude to so many people in this world for our success. So next time, children, when you all become big already, become doctors or whatever it is, never forget your parents, never forget your whoever who is it in the school, the auntie in the canteen, and then the auntie and the uncle who sweep the floor in your school, the gardener, the cleaner. All of this actually contribute to your success. Not only your degree, not only you. So that is the meaning of anatta, meaning that everything in this world comes together to form what we are today, right? The kindness of the whole universe. So this is the fundamental teaching. So this supposedly says that it is just a self, it's merely a collection of all these different things, yeah? So by understanding anatta, we know that actually even the gender also is actually not fixed lah, because there is no fixed human being here, no self. So therefore, gender also cannot be fixed, because there's nothing fixed. Everything is changing in transit. It's actually transitory in nature. Yeah. And then there's one more thing also. All of us are made from parts. We are constantly changing. We are interdependent with other living beings and other phenomena. Plus, on top of that, we are made out of parts, ma. So it's just like Bante Nagasena in the past talked to King Milinda. So King Milinda wanted to understand this anatta. What is this anatta? How to explain? So Bante Nagasena explained. This was 2,000 years ago, yeah. 2,000 years ago, Bante Nagasena explained in the form of chariot. So today I don't talk about chariot, I talk to you about a car. So a car, well, if no tires, is the car a car? No, isn't it? If no steering wheel, is the car a car? So no tires, no steering wheel, no seat, no engine. Is it a car? So which means that if you no heart, are you no heart, no eyes, all these difficult things, so all these things come together and then creates a you. So we are all made of parts. We are made of the atoms. Atoms become molecules. Molecules become cells. Cells become organs, tissues, muscles, blood. All this become you. So basically, that is why the Buddha said, don't be so proud, because you're just made of all these atoms. So one fine day, all these atoms will go back to the nature. So that is our existence, and we must understand that. Then that makes us very humble. So in terms of gender also, so I'm a male today or I'm a female today, very great. So actually all these things are all process. In reality, there is no male, no female. So if you read the Heart Sutra, in Mahayana Buddhism, we call it Shunyata. In Theravada Buddhism, the Buddha taught until anatta, but then later on, uh, Arya Nagarjuna, a first century common era scholar, right, from South India, he actually developed the concept of shunyata, emptiness. I think you all have heard about emptiness before. So in Mahayana Buddhism, every day we recite Heart Sutra. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. That means, but I got ear, ma. How can you say no eye, no ear, no tongue, no body? It really means that actually on its own, the ear cannot come, the eye cannot come, no body, no mind. It all arises depending on other things. If there are no atoms, no cells, no molecules, no cells, there will not be an ear. So there is no real ear. The ear just is not like one block of ear just suddenly pasang like that. It arises depending on causes and conditions. So that's how you understand egolessness. And then the second one is dependent origination. This is paticca samuppada. This one is called the 12 links of dependent origination. And this one is also one of the very important teachings. Mostly we all know, okay, Four Noble Truth, right? The Noble Truth of suffering, the cause of suffering, the end of suffering, and the path leading to the end of suffering. Four Noble Truth. We know the Noble Eightfold Path, right? We know, right? And then after that, we must also know the three characteristics. So the three characteristics, Ti-Ratana is number one, that is dukkha. Number two is what they call that anicca. So it is means impermanence. Everything is impermanent. And third is anatta. And then the next you all have to learn is karma, cause and effect, karma, right? So everything you do has an effect, yeah? Whatever you think, whatever you say, whatever we do, all has a karma effect, vipaka we call it. After that, there's one more teaching called paticca samuppada. This teaching is very important. This teaching actually tells us the root cause of why we are suffering in this world. Right? Why is it like the Buddha says suffering? So everybody say, oh, Buddha is very boring one. Always suffer, suffer, talk about suffering. But if, let's just say, I talk to you about happiness, then suddenly one day die. Eh, why nobody tell me I will die one? So sad. So better the Buddha tell you, you will die, you will become sick. Then suddenly one day you become sick. Oh, why I become sick? I didn't know I'm going to become sick. That's how Prince Siddhartha, when he was young, nobody told him there's such thing as sickness. Nobody told him there's such a thing as death, old age. Nobody told him all these things. So that's why he thought the world is perfect. And is it a good thing? So nowadays people like to say, no, 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 we think only about the positive. Yes, we think positive, but we must also know the reality of the world. The reality of the world is what the Prince Siddhartha saw when he came out of the palace. What did he see? He saw an old man, right? He saw the old man, and then after that, sick man. Then after that, saw a dead man. Correct or not? So imagine if you always think that life is happy, suddenly you see this, and one day he will also experience, right? So better to see first, then suddenly you become sick and then cannot understand and then cannot, just too much suffering. So if the Buddha tell you that there is a suffering, there's a suffering, so is it Buddhism is a religion of suffering or is a religion of reality? So it's a teaching on the reality, isn't it? So better you know your reality, then you do something about it. And the Buddha said you can come out from this. So therefore, when people tell you, hey, you're Buddhist, always very suffer one, very sad. So, we are very happy people. So come and join us with our singing. You all have to say, we are not pessimists. We are not always talking about suffering, but we acknowledge there is suffering and we are working towards the end of our suffering by acknowledging it. And at the same time, we remain happy because we know that there is suffering, but at the same time, we can be happy. It's amazing, isn't it? So that's called the middle way. Middle between suffering and happiness, you are in the middle. When suffering happens, you know what to do. When happiness, you know it's impermanent, right? So this paticca samuppada is very important. So it says that everything exists depending on one and something before you, something before you. So, so therefore, this gender is not fixed. So it is actually shaped by various conditions and contexts. In sociology, in university, okay, in the academic world, we say that gender is a social construct. That means it's something the society has created and then throw on you and then paste the label on your head. Man, woman, masculine, feminine, like that. And then what about those people who have feelings and emotions which do not correspond to either? You know, there's so much of mental suffering. When we label people, then they're expected to conform to that particular gender uh, orientation. Then after that, their gendered roles are defined by that. And if they don't want to do, if a male is very emotional, he wants to express his feelings, but because he's male, mother say cannot. You must bottle it up until after that suicide. So you see, the gendered roles can be quite frightening. And then also, the girl doesn't want to always be in the kitchen. She wants to, earn a living. She wants to help her family. She wants to go to school. No, mother said no. You study so high, what for? You go into the kitchen or anywhere, isn't it? So what for I waste my money on you studying? That is what we have heard before. Our mothers, our grandmothers all have suffered these kinds of, yeah, isn't it? So now, middle way, yeah? So we must understand that when we talk about men and women and all, actually the middle way is to avoid the extreme. No, so Buddhist, it's if you understand the teaching of the Buddha, you will not say it is left or right, short or long. You will be in the middle way. You understand what the middle way means? Middle way actually really means not clinging to like, not clinging to dislike. So not clinging to male and not clinging to female. And why is this very important? I tell you why. Okay? Because in the past, yeah, because people didn't understand this, so some people can cheat the women. Yeah, including Sangha also. In the past, some irresponsible people used to tell women, you cannot attain enlightenment. You have to be reborn, and then only you can become enlightened. So that means the woman, how will a woman feel, a girl child, that you're not smart enough, you cannot go to school, you will forever be in the kitchen, and your job is to just produce children, and that's about it. Whereas all the opportunities goes to the boys. In the monastic setup is also the same. Women also in the past, last time the Buddha gave both men and women the opportunity to become Sangha. Then and until Bhikkhuni, yeah, so after the Bhikkhuni lineage passed away, gone, died out, then now in after that for 1,000 years no Bhikkhuni lineage. So then people started saying that only the monks can become bhikkhu. Women cannot become bhikkhuni anymore. Only now in the 21st century, right, that we see women finally becoming bhikkhuni in the Theravada tradition. But Mahayana, we always have bhikkhuni. The Chinese tradition, Dhamma Guptaka, we always have bhikkhuni, yeah. Korea also got bhikkhuni. But Theravada and Tibetan tradition don't have bhikkhuni. And then this one, what is the problem? If you don't have bhikkhuni, yeah, then the people will think that the female actually is lower. Then you come back again to this like, dislike, high and low thing. Buddha said the mind is the same. Whether you are a boy or a girl, man or woman, your mind is the same. Is there a male mind or a female mind? Who said got male mind? And male mind, very different one. But there is a book, isn't it? Men are from Mars and women from Venus. What does that even mean? Men from Mars. That means we are different. We are different because of what? Because of the societal, the conditioning, and also female body with a lot of different hormones. Male got different hormones, female got different hormones, female got different gendered roles, male got different gendered roles, plus female have biological, what they call that, differences, right? So there will be differences, but the differences are only skin deep. That means only external differences, only in the physical difference, right? At the most, also the emotion will be upside down a little bit sometimes because of, say, you got period lah. So okay, you're very, 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 very pain. I got stomach cramp and this and that. I cannot work at all. Maybe 1 day, 2 days in 1 month, things like that happen. But it doesn't mean that the woman is cannot work or is the mentality is less. It just means that the person is uncomfortable, and because of the body. Correct? It's just like when you are sick, men and women can both become sick. So it doesn't mean that when people are sick, their minds are not the same as other people. I ask you, sick person, the mind, and a healthy person, is the mind different? Same, isn't it? So why people say men and women, the mind different? Just because women got more issues with the body, etc. So male and female got different the mind. So who conjured up, who created all these differences is the human being. The nature made all living beings have the same mind. It's just the different ability to understand depending on your conditioning, right? And depending on your body, the physical body. If you are born a cat or a bird, your cognition level, your cognitive is less. So your degree of sentience is less. And therefore, you cannot comprehend, you cannot study the Dharma. Even if you listen to the Dharma, cannot understand. But male and female listen to the Dharma. Is it the female got less understanding? How many think that female are actually not very clever one? Like actually, inherently, we are actually not so bright. Like the IQ a bit lower than the man. Is it true? Right? So this is exactly what the Buddha is said, that they are the same. That's why initially the Buddha did not want to give ordination to it is said now the story, yeah. However much is true, so we don't know, because 2500 years is a very long time. And during the 2500 years, people could have changed the text, because only in the I can't remember which century, few hundred years after the Buddha's passing away, when Buddhism ended up in Sri Lanka, right? Then only the monks actually wrote for the first time the Tripitaka on ola leaves in Sri Lanka, right? So which means that before that, the first few hundred years, what is the teaching? How do we know? Unless from day one somebody has written, this is what the Buddha has said, and this is exactly what the Buddha said. So therefore, this is the correct one. And even that also, you can, history itself always changing. Your history book, our history book, I born in 1975. So I'm the last batch which did not get the KBSR, you know. I'm the last one. After that is KBSR. So we learn history very different. My parents' history books are different in English. My history books were in Malay. Now you look at the children's history books. In 3 generations, the history has changed, right? In just 3 generations, and that is how many years? About 50 years. So now you times how many? 2500 years is 50 times how many? 50 times? 50 times 50, correct? 50 times 50, right? So 50, in these 50 years, we have changed our history. Can you imagine in 2500 years, 50 times longer than this? You, do you think that the teaching is the same? It never changed. It is pure. Think about it, yeah? Think about it. It's very important to think. That's why the Buddha said, don't accept anything just because I said it, just because it's in the Tripitaka, just because it's it. Experience it in light of your own practice. Yeah, when you practice, you put it into practice. If it doesn't augur with your common sense and your experience, that means it's not correct, and you can reject. Right? So therefore, sometimes I think, yeah, it is just me. Maybe you have a different idea. I think that it may not be true that the Buddha actually rejected the nuns, you know, may or may not be true. I don't want to say that exactly that it is 100%, but I have an opinion about it. So then the Buddha told Mahaprajapati Gautami, his aunt and stepmom, he said that no, you cannot ordain because it's not safe or something like that. Then she was so disappointed because she walked all the way from Kapilavastu until where? Vaishali. Okay, hundreds of kilometers with 500 ladies with their barefoot, yeah, bare feet. And then by the time they reached Vaishali, their feet were, swollen and, bloody, blister and all. And then suddenly, when you walk 250 kilometers or something, you come after so many days with great hopes that the Buddha will ordain you suddenly. No, it's like you go so long to the immigration counter, want to apply for passport, wait for 8 hours and then counter close. Sorry. Even it feels disappointing, isn't it? Can you imagine? Can you feel the disappointment? And then in that great despair, Mahaprajapati Gautami, she went to see Ananda. Venerable Ananda was the the attendant for the Buddha, right? So Venerable Ananda, he said yes, because there's also his auntie also. So Venerable Ananda said, yes, how can I help you? Then she asked Venerable Ananda, you know, to help. So Venerable Ananda went to the Buddha and said, do men and women have equal opportunity to attain Arahant or not? Are men and women mind same or not? Do women have the capability The Buddha said, yes. So it is one of the questions that the Ananda very cleverly asked the Buddha and trapped the Buddha in his own words in a way, because Ananda is also, the Buddha's, disciple. So he asked the Buddha in this very interesting way. Then the Buddha said, okay, I'll ordain. If you say it in that way, because the mind is equal, so I ordain you. But in the past, it's not true. And even today, in many countries, it is believed that women cannot attain enlightenment in this body. You have to be reborn. Yeah, some say reborn 7 times, then only you can become 7 lifetimes behind. Yeah, you reborn 7 lifetimes as a man, then only can become, a man. No, what 7 lifetimes? What? No, sorry, 7 lifetimes, and then only can become enlightened. How? How?
Yeah, you have to be reborn in the male life to be reborn. To be enlightened. So it can be so 7 times. Some say even 9 times, and some even say 500 times also. So different people believe different ways. But it has to be that we have to be reborn in a man's form only to be enlightened. Yeah. Otherwise, if we are reborn in the female or in other forms, then we will never be enlightened. So we have to keep repeating. So which means 7 years can be like even more than that, because every rebirth we won't be reborn in the male form, isn't it? I mean, in the human form and the male form. So it can be in between other things. So you see how many times that you have to go through.
Thank you. So this is actually reality until today, until today, and also in Southeast Asian countries also, it is believed that you cannot be attain arahant this lifetime, because actually, why they say that? Because there is no role model. It's not that because women cannot attain, and I tell you later why also they say like this. So what they say is that you tambun, you give, make merit, feed the monk every day, which is good, which is very important to give the alms to the sangha, but do it with the correct motivation. Do it with the correct understanding, and the understanding that people think, especially ladies, especially older ones, is that I give the food to the monk now so that I can be reborn as male, so that I can practice. Why are they not being told that in this life itself you practice the meditation, so that you in this lifetime you become arahant, right? So you see there is some sort of something not quite right there. So that means many women, they want to make their sons monks, which is very good, yeah, but do it with the right motivation. The motivation is that if my son becomes a monk, when I die, I will cling on to the robe of my son, and then I will enter into the Devaloka. So all these actually are not so correct views, yeah. So I'm here today in order to inspire women who do not know already that we all can actually become enlightened in this very body. No need to reborn or what. Who knows? We are going to be reborn as a cat or dog next life. Better do the homework now before we suddenly end up with paws, and whiskers. You never know, yeah. And death is not like next year or 50 years time. It can be the next moment. And the moment we die now, okay, we don't practice, we die now, and then all of a sudden we suddenly, in the next few weeks, we suddenly realize that we have got, when we regain our consciousness, we suddenly feel that we got whisker, paw, and in the mother's womb, then come out only, it's like, oh no, what happened? Just a few minutes ago, you thought that you were listening to the Dharma. Now suddenly in the form of a cat. So that is why the urgency. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to disparage any, gender or any lineage or any monastic or any tradition. Nothing of that sort. I'm only here to inspire my fellow brothers and sisters, Dharma brothers and sisters, that everybody in this body better do the homework, because the mind is the same. Yeah. And then, okay. So this one is a little bit. Yeah. I already talked about this now. Yeah. So this is what, in the Tibetan tradition, this one is taken from some oral histories, yeah, some biographies. So there is this one biography that by Nyangral Nyima Wozer. I think it's Ogen Choki's biography. So it talks about gendered roles, yeah. So here they say that women are the basis for the home, so they must keep the house clean. Women should listen well to whatever the good husband tells her and accept the bad husband as simply a result of her past karmic actions. Meaning that gender-based violence, domestic violence is okay one. So it's like you accept gender-based violence because it's your karma, ma. But then again, remember that the Buddha said karma can be changed. So you must not be a victim of your karma. You must transcend it. So you see how this different, and this is actually coming from a monk. This is a monk's words, yeah, coming from the 15th, 16th century Tibet. So since one's father and elder brothers are the backbone of the family, women should worship them like gods. Okay. So since women are singled out, they must keep a pleasant demeanor. So women must look pretty. So isn't this a gendered role? Must look pretty, must wear nice clothes, so must do rebonding, even though the hair become gray, hair fall out, everything must be, we must look pretty, take the fair and lovely cream, because if dark means not nice, fair only very nice, so dark people got no value. Is that who imposed all these things? If we are empowered enough, females, we don't need external validation, because inside here is an enlightened Buddha nature already. We just have to discover it. So what other people put value on us is actually not true, because they themselves are not enlightened, right? So women who talk too much cause rumors, and therefore the good woman should not move her lips too much. This is like, woman must be seen but cannot be heard, like that, yeah? So this actually goes to show that women, like nowadays, women like me are giving Dharma talks. In the past, how many women actually give Dharma talks? And in the future, I wish many, many, many more, people will give Dharma talks, women, men, women, both, yeah? And people of the third gender come out and give Dharma talks, yeah? She should go to sleep late and awake early, work hard and complete all her labors. She should be kind and caring to the cattle and the guard dogs. So basically, this is talking about the woman only in the household only. So which means that the entire household work she must do, but the opportunity is just there, that much only. So this is called ascetic misogyny. Ascetic misogyny meaning that it is the monastics that actually perpetuate this women. Misogyny means women hating, yeah, disliking women kind of attitude. That is what we call misogyny. So here it says that the place where a young boy goes is a monastery, the place where a young girl goes is her new husband's home. So how many girls will agree with that today? Yeah. But does it sound familiar enough to all a bit of older generation? It does sound familiar, isn't it? Because at some point in time, somebody has told that to us. Yeah. So this is again from the same text. It says, learning spinning and weaving is for you. This monk told this yeah this a nun, do not create this mental suffering. So this one lady, she wanted to become a nun. Okay, he said, no need, no need. Okay, you learn the spinning and weaving, and no need to have any. So an aspiration is twisted and turned to be a mental suffering. So which means that to ask for gender equality, to ask for opportunities to practice the Dharma, to ask for opportunities to become bhikkhuni or to enter, the monastic life is creating mental suffering. How many of you agree that by asking for gender equality, more opportunities, to pave opportunities for women to be able to practice the Dharma, right, in their full right, is a mental suffering? Is a mental suffering, which means that just keep quiet and accept it as a karma. The more you resist, the more you advocate for equality, is mental suffering. So you see how these, how it's actually twisted and turned, very craftily. And this is 500 years ago text, yeah. It's not today's text, but you get the drift of how, yeah. So now, that one was from an unenlightened being. No doubt it was a monk, but not enlightened one. Now let's look at enlightened yogi. This is the great Tibetan yogi Milarepa. Have you heard of Milarepa before? Who has not heard of Milarepa before? Do you know? Who don't know? Who doesn't know? Okay, so this great Tibetan yogi, yeah, Milarepa, when he was young, his father died. He has one younger sister, and father was very rich, and they were a joint family, so they stayed with their uh, uncle also, the younger uncle, auntie, and their children and all. So when his father died, father is the elder brother, the uncle took all the wealth, okay, so called for safekeeping until the child turns 18. So, and then he made the mother and Milarepa and his younger sister Pema, is it? Pema or Peta? Peta. Not the Preta, not the. So, so the younger sister, all of them were made to work like slaves on the farm, and then beaten and abused. And then, for many, 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 many years, the mother was made to work as a slave. From an aristocrat lady, very rich lady, overnight after the husband died, all of them became slaves. Okay, and then the mother was very angry. So the mother told the son, one fine day we will take revenge. So one fine day, when the mother couldn't take it anymore, she had a little bit of money saved. She gave that money to Milarepa. She said, "Go and learn black magic. I want you to learn black magic so well that you cast a terrible spell and kill off all these people, and then get us our wealth back." So the boy, he said, "Okay, mom," because he loved his mother so much, and he himself has suffered so much. So he went in search for a black magic master. And the black magic master taught him black magic. And then one day, he created such a earthquake or thunderstorm or something like that, that it's like a storm, a hailstorm, yeah, a hailstorm. And then the hailstorm dropped on the house where a lot of people were having some sort of a wedding or something like that. I think 35 people were killed in that house, including livestock also, animals also. And the mother was very happy. But when Milarepa came, he saw the destruction. He was far from happy. He had so great remorse in him. He couldn't take it anymore. He said, "Oh my goodness, what have I done? Even though I'm very, like I've succeeded in my mission, but this evil mission didn't give me any happiness." So he couldn't take it anymore. So he ran away, and then he asked, "How can I undo this negative karma of mine? Please give me a way. It's just too much negative karma." So then this somebody advised him to go and find a guru. The guru's name is Marpa. So he went to find this guru, and then the guru made him do, because of his great negative karma, the guru made him build a tower called, nowadays we call it the Milarepa Tower. Build a tower 7 times, and then each time build, is it not nice? Tear it down, not nice, tear it down. And tear it down also must take back every single brick, every single sandstone back to the original place 7 times. And he waited 12 years, huh? I think about 12 years or something like that, maybe 12, 14 years, I don't remember. Then only he got one word of the Dharma, he cried and cried. As one day, when he was so fed up, after so many years, more than 10 years of serving the teacher, and the teacher always scold and beat him. And then after that, he said, "I'm going to commit suicide now." So as he was about to commit suicide, the teacher is enlightened. So the teacher called him to the room, gave him the first teaching. And he said, "Your karma is cleared. Now only you qualify to get the teaching." And he's practiced so hard because he's so scared of his negative karma. He practiced, he said, "If I die without, gaining enlightenment this life, surely I'll be reborn in lower realms because of the karma of killing so many people." He was that scared, that energetic, like his hair was on fire like that. He practiced, 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 and he only wore this cloth, yeah, this cotton cloth, and then he used to eat nettle only. So thin he became. He used to live in the caves, very remote caves in Tibet. His body turned green, because he only ate that nettle, and lived in so cool places, but he became enlightened. And this is what he has to say about women. So can you imagine the power of this saint's words, yeah? Yeah, is an enlightened being, very, very respected in Tibet. Milarepa said, "Woman is essentially wisdom, source of spontaneous prajna." Prajna means panya, wisdom, and subtle body. Don't worry about subtle body. Source of wisdom. Never consider her inferior. Strive especially to see her as Vajravarahi. Vajravarahi is like a deity, like an enlightened, female enlightened being, something like that. So, therefore, so you understand? You understand the status of women now? So are women low? Milarepa himself already said that women are the same, yeah, very, very, very full of wisdom. So now I tell you why women until today, if all these saints and all the Buddha all said that women can become an arahant, and we also have the bhikkhunis of the past also, the theories, Mahaprajapati Gautami, then Bhikkhuni Khema, Bhikkhuni Patachara, Bhikkhuni, who else? Kisa Gautami, Bhikkhuni Dhammadina, so many, many enlightened bhikkhunis. And they also in the Therigatha, the Buddha himself said that this one all attain full arahantship, yeah? Then why we need to hold the robe of a monk and be reborn? Why? Where did it go wrong? How come this knowledge of women can attain enlightenment in this body is not still not many people understand? I tell you why. Because the men's stories are recorded. Okay? This person became an arahant, that person became enlightened, this person became this person became this, all male. But when it comes to female stories, nobody tells, yeah? So the absence of women in religious literature. So which means that as if women nobody never achieve anything, because nobody record their story, right? So if nobody record their story, so in Tibetan, I talk about the Tibetan tradition because both of us are scholars looking at Tibetan texts, yeah. So there is this one person called Dan Martin. He said there is far less literature about accomplished women than accomplished men, and only 2% are actually biographies are written by women, yeah. At least 100 biographies of male masters, complete with their birth dates, and also so many information. But when it comes to women, suddenly like blank. That's why people think that women cannot achieve enlightenment because there is no role model. So that is the problem. So here, so even the early Buddhist literature, we know the Bhikkhuni lineage very well respected, so good their practice, so many arahants, yeah. And then, but we don't read the Therigatha, isn't it? Because not many people tell you, sister, you go and read the Therigatha, become inspired, and then you become arahant. Not many people will tell you this, yeah. I wonder why. So now we have a concept called patriarchy. Patriarchy means there is some force within even the monastic community in Buddhism also that prefer men and women. So want to exalt the men but bring down the women because women should always be just like wives, cooking, cleaning and all. So if women become very great, arahants and all, then who is going to cook for the men? Who is going to clean their rooms all? So can you see this kind of not very pure motivation? Actually speaking, if the person has very right motivation, somehow or other somebody will come to clean your room. You will find somebody to cook for you. There is no need to subordinate somebody in order to find a cook for you. Do you get what I mean? Even today, in monasteries also, you find that mostly women are the cooks, the clean. There's nothing wrong with this, But if they seek something higher, we have to pave the way for them. If they say that this is what we want to do, fine. If the woman say that no, I don't want to become bhikkhuni, I don't want, I'm happy doing this work, then by all means we must respect. But if the woman say no lah, actually I have no choice lah, the paksa do this, because nobody gave me ordination, and nobody is teaching me the dharma. That is the situation of women in Himalayas today. So as in like today is better, but until today we still can find some gender imbalances, yeah. So you see who is this one, Sanghamitra, Mahapajapati. Who are all these? Do you know? So Sanghamitra is King Ashoka's daughter. Yeah, she was a bhikkhuni and she is the one who established the bhikkhuni order in Sri Lanka. She is the one who brought the Bodhi tree from Bodh Gaya to Anuradhapura, and then now the Bodhi tree in Anuradhapura is the child, the original child of the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya. And do you know the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya is not the real one anymore? Already chopped down. Now it's replanted. Yeah. And you all know Brickfields Temple, right? So Brickfields Temple, the Bodhi tree, you think came from where? Anuradhapura, from Sri Lanka. And thanks to who? Thanks to Bhikkhuni Sanghamitra. And who is Bhikkhuni Sanghamitra? The daughter of King Ashoka and the sister of Arahant Mahinda. You know Mahinda? You have heard before? Arahant Mahinda? Yeah. Mahaprajapati Gautami is the Buddha's, Prince Siddhartha's aunt and stepmother. When his mother passed away, when he was 7 days old, she is the one who took care of him, and she is the one who became the first bhikkhuni in the whole world. She is the one who walked 250 kilometers with the bloody feet and then asked Buddha, please lah, and ordain me and my sisters. Buddha said no. Then only she said, Ananda, please help. And then Ananda helped. Finally, she became a bhikkhuni. Yeah. So you see, so there's so many nuns, so many, yeah. Initially, they used to write now. During the early bhikkhuni, we know their stories. Then suddenly, how come 1,000 over years, no story? Yeah? Quite a number. See, so Indian Buddhist nuns, nobody mentioned them anymore after, let's say, 7th century. And the last they were noted in literature is because of Shenzang, yeah, and Faxian. Okay, these are the two. It's the Chinese scholars who went to India and then say, oh, got bhikkhuni now lah. Still, that time 7th century, But after that, we didn't hear about them anymore. Don't know where they went, They completely disappeared from India, right? And then also in the beginning, there's no Buddhist nuns in the, Nalanda. Who knows what is Nalanda University? Not Nalanda here in KL, Where is the Nalanda? It is in Bihar. It's in India. This Nalanda Monastic University is 2,000 years old, Very, very long. And then later on, it got burnt in about 1,000 years ago. About that lah. I know, I think it's in the 12th century. Nalanda got burned down by the the Turks. They came from Turkey, and then they burned down Nalanda. And when Nalanda burned, there were so many books. It said that it took 3 months for the fire to be extinguished. That means such a big university. So in India, ancient India, there were so many universities. Yeah, there were Nalanda, Takshashila, Odantapuri, Vikramshil, so many, Jagadalala and Somapura. So these are the four. The sixth one, yeah, the six. So Wallaby also. But none of these universities in the past got women. Good, huh? So you see why no women? Actually, because Buddhist nuns were either prohibited, that means they were stopped from learning, becoming academics. So that's why you see only the academics in the past, all the pandita are all male, or they were not mentioned. It's not that they were not there, it's that no one talked about them. Maybe they were there. So you see, there's so many possibilities. So that's why the Buddha always asks us to think. Think of this possibility, think of that possibility. Think in light of your own experience as to why. No female in the university mentioned doesn't mean that they were not there, yeah? Because there is a lack of biographical and hagiography. Hagiography means, okay, it means that when you're enlightened already, yeah, yay, I'm enlightened, then you spring into a song or enlightened song. That is hagiography, yeah? Hagiography means, let's say, for example, the Buddha or let's say, Bhikkhuni Kema, when she got enlightened, then she started saying all these wonderful verses of how she became enlightened. She told her story in a beautiful poetic form. That is hagiography. Therigatha, yeah, Therigatha is actually a collection of all the hagiography of all the early bhikkhuni during the time of Buddha. So here, I wanted to tell you that there are so many female, when we come to the Tibetan tradition, yeah, there's so many lineage masters, but now you see only male Rinpoche. In the past, female also got, and that also so many years ago, yeah, in the 12th century. The 12th century was, what, 800 years ago? 800 years ago already got, there were already female lineage masters, yeah, of the Kala Chakra. Yeah. So her name was not mentioned as a lineage holder later, yeah. So actually quite sad lah. So even though she is actually important lineage holder in the Kala Chakra, then later, as the years passed by, the centuries passed by, she became only a small little teacher. So which means that somebody who was very big, just like the history books I told you, in 50 years, something very important can completely disappear. Like our Bujang Valley, for example. When I was in school, we learned about the Bujang Valley, Ganga Nagara, Kedah Tua, right? Then suddenly stop learning. So you see, if history can be changed in 2 generations, 50 years, completely different, nobody remembers anymore. So in 2,500 years, 1,000 years, so obviously nobody will remember anymore. So that's how it gets distorted, yeah? So the distortion of Buddhist texts actually is one of the reasons why female are not visible. So we call it invisible woman, yeah? So women are invisible in Tibetan Buddhism, but in other Buddhism also. So my dear respected scholar Rita Gross, yeah, the late Rita Gross, she said that because the patriarchal, that means patriarchy means male-centric, yeah, ruled by father. The monastic institutions didn't consider women to be worthy subjects of discussion. So in patriarchy, in the academic study of gender studies, we say patriarchy is male is regarded as the normal one. Yeah, but female is other. It's like another species, you know. So this is how we see it in the gender studies, yeah. So women are presented only in relation to the experiences of men as seen by men. So if you can understand this, then you will know why women actually have disappeared from the history, yeah. So and also in the Tibetan tradition, biographies are often written by male. And when male write, they will have their own perspective. It's not that their perspective is wrong. They just have their own androcentric. Androcentric means that means their male perspective, right? So they will talk about it from the male point of view. So that's why I say nowadays we encourage females to start talking and about their own experiences, including you all sitting here. Why your experience is not important? Do you know that you're all sitting here in doing your household work? If you all do mindfulness practice, you can become an arahant also. You can. Who is stopping you except because of all these narratives, yeah, that tell you that you cannot. That's why that is the only thing stopping you, yeah. And of course, can be laziness also lah. The one to practice is that I can't do anything, yeah. So so women actually played a very important role in Tibetan Buddhism. But now only a handful of them are known to us, yeah, because their stories are not recorded in Tibetan Buddhism. So we have all these like Jetsun Niguma, Machik Labdrön, or Yeshe Tsogyal. Yeshe Tsogyal is the first Tibetan, what they call that, first person in Tibet to be enlightened, because she was the first, she's the first student of Guru Padma Sambhava is the one who brought Buddhism to Tibet from India, and she is his first disciple and the first enlightened one. But you know, it's very it's not acknowledged until today. So Mandarawa, all these are enlightened. So Gelongma Palbo Bhikkhuni Lakshmi also. So here the girl says, "Yeah, I'm writing an autobiography." So the boy asks, "Whose?" Autobiography means you know it's my own biography, right? So what is that to ask whose? So which means that this cartoon is actually meant to say that actually women's stories are not important. Autobiography means obviously it's hers lah, isn't it? That's what autobiography means. So there is one story in 17th century. There is a nun, the life of Ogen Choki. Yeah. So in this life of Ogen Choki, she was illiterate. She asked her master to write down something for her lah. You know, write down la biography for me. Then you know what he said? So she said like this, you know, Master, Master, I have good reason to write a few words on my joys and suffering. She wants to tell her story, yeah? Therefore, I pray of you, Master, write it down. Master has to write because Master is literate, she's illiterate. And then her master, Ogen Tenzin, scolds her. He said, there is no reason to write a life for you, okay? A woman. And thinking on this woman's words, he adds, you must be silent. She responds, if I knew how to write, she writes, yeah, I would have reason to write of my joys and sufferings. So which means that he doesn't want to write because he thinks that her life is not important just because she's a female, yeah? So that's actually quite sad lah, isn't it? So now we talk about, there's so many, this one all actually, they live in the 20th century, yeah? So many female and these are women of the present day in Tibetan Buddhism. Enlightened masters, we would say, and also very highly realized masters. So the reason why I'm showing you all this, because You never heard of female Rinpoche, right? There's one here, Jesung Khandro Rinpoche, right? And there's so many others also, right? So this is also actually in a way equivalent to a Rinpoche also. It just means somebody who is a reincarnated master. And Jamyang Doma Lama also is a reincarnated master. Yeah, so basically, yeah. So now, what can we do? Yeah. So what can we do? So now, I tell you about the good stuff lah. So all the not so good stuff I already told you, right? But the things are changing. So now, 10 years ago, actually, yeah lah, 2016, 9 years ago, last time women in Tibet not allowed to study, not allowed to go to the monastery to study, right? They are in the monastery. Actually, to go into the nunnery also difficult. Don't have any nunnery also. Then later, after they came out from Tibet, right? So then, women started seeing the importance of education. So they approach His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all. But, initially it was very difficult because there's a lot of resistance from the very, the old monks and all who say that women don't need to study. One cannot, they cannot study. So when they study, they actually study about 17 years to get a Geshe degree. And the Geshe degree has been around for hundreds of years. But for the females, only in 2016. This is the graduation ceremony. Venerable and I went, yeah, to congratulate. These are our friends. And these are living beings, yeah. These are the present one. And Venerable studied in that nunnery, Jamyang Shuling. So there are 20 Geshe-mas from 5 nunneries throughout India and Nepal who finally became Geshe-mas. So not, yeah, and this is the first batch, yeah. So this is a good story. And then there's another good story here, is the story of our Venerable here. So she is believed to be the first Himalayan Buddhist nun to obtain a PhD, and she studied in Malaysia, in our own country, yeah. So she's also very highly learned, and also, basically she studied in the Tibetan, what they call that, the curriculum, the philosophy. So many years study, and then after that study the what they call it until class 12, and then take the BA, take a MA, and then after that take PhD. So it's actually a very long route in order to become a person who can actually teach. So it's actually not so easy for women because the opportunities in her country was not there. She had to leave her country, Bhutan, in order to go to India to study, because at that time Bhutan did not have a study program, yeah. And that is like 20th century. It's not like 500 years ago. It's just like 30 years ago. And then also in the past, don't have ordination for Buddhist nuns. So this one, on 11 March 2017, Karmapa. I don't know whether you all know Karmapa is a lineage head of the Karma Kagyu school of Tibetan Buddhism, right? So the 17th Karmapa, he first ordained 19 nuns, yeah, Samanarika, so that you have to ordain as Samanari first. Then after, at least how many years? 2 years. After 2 years, go Sikamana. Then only after that you can become Bhikkhuni, yeah. So this is a very good thing. So I wanted to tell you that, yeah. So now, but that never happened, because of COVID and everything. So the women still are Shamanarika, but that is okay, because there's a better development in Venerable's home country, Bhutan. On 23rd June 2022, 144 nuns received full ordination for the first time in modern history. And why is this important? Because Tibetan Buddhism, they say, no bhikkhuni in the past, no bhikkhuni. And suddenly, in the 21st century, 3 years ago, the Sangha Raja, the J Khenpo of Bhutan, nobody wants to give, because so many years they were deliberating, talking. In the end, the J Khenpo said, okay, let's give. Let Bhutan be an example. So then Bhutan became an example. So you see, things are changing, yeah? So this is what we call 2 years on, women in Buddhism. Yeah. Maybe Venerable would like to say something. I think you.
I was just adding that the full ordination for the nuns is also important because, like earlier, Venerable has just gone through the earlier slide where the 20 nuns has received the Geshe-ma degree, which is equivalent to PhD. So the monks still doesn't accept them as equal to them, even though the duration of the study is same, the subject the nuns and the monks study is same, yet they think that the nuns' Geshe-ma degree, which is equivalent to PhD degree, is lower than the monks' degree. Why? Because they have no full ordination. And because if the nuns have not taken the full ordination, they say that the nuns are not allowed to study the Vinaya text, which is a part of the study. But whereas they actually can study up to whatever ordination they have, and then they are given additional subject which the monks don't have to study, and nuns are doing the extra study, and yet the nuns are not recognized. So in that way, the ordination is also very, very important. But they think that it is not important. Yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Thank you. Yes, yes, please ask. Yeah.
Mhm. Most of the nuns, among the 144 nuns who ordained the full ordination, you're talking about yeah, they are mostly in Bhutan. I mean, they are the nuns from Bhutan, but there are a number of them that came from India and Nepal as well, and all from the Kaju tradition, the Drukpa Kaju tradition, where they hold the same schools. So they went back to their own nunneries, and I think some of them are already teaching their nuns. So in a process, they are actually training their nuns also in terms of the Vinaya and all this. And then in Bhutan also, it is not only from one nunnery. So the nuns came to take ordination from different nunneries, a few numbers like the senior or whoever ones are ready to take. They came, and then now they go back and they're sharing about the Vinaya rules to the nuns, because especially remote areas, the nuns are not aware of all this. Like when I was doing the research, it was in 2012 and 13. Most of the nuns that I went to was very remote areas that I went, and they didn't know anything about the Vinaya, not even the very, like, how to take even the refuge precept and all. Don't talk about the 5 precept, and even the monks and nuns precept. We have different, like 37 for the 36 for the samaneries, and then some take the, like in Thailand and all, 10 precept. So different numbers. They didn't know anything about it. Only thing is that they shaved and then was wearing the robes, and then they say that they are nun, but they didn't know anything. So that's how the monk teachers, their teachers, and which is mostly in that case, because the nuns have not gotten any education. So it is always the monk teacher or the layman teacher who is like guide nuns, and then those take advantage because the nuns didn't know anything, and then they're using the nuns for the things that are not supposed to be done in the monasteries and nunneries. Yeah.
So thank you, Venerable, for your and thank you, sister, for your question, and Venerable for your one. Yeah, yeah.
And in terms of the Geshe-ma, the nuns, 20 nuns, not only 20 nuns were in the first batch. So now every year we have the nuns. So now I think it's about 150 to 160 nuns who are already received the Geshe-ma degree, which is equivalent to PhD. So there are quite a number of nuns now. They go all over the world, which means that the centers are recognizing them in the foreign land as well, in the West and in Europe and everywhere. So they go and give teachings, and some of the Geshe-mas are in their own nunneries as well teaching. But even the nunneries and all are not fully still accepting the nuns as a teacher. So some of them are still very strong and they're teaching. And then some Geshe-mas are also in the politics also, where they are in the very high, in the Tibetan government, Excel government. So there are nuns, Geshe-mas, who are also in the politics, so who are well-spoken ones. So I think it is slowly coming up with these other good things.
Thank you. So we move on. So this one, just now you're talking about the Geshe-mas, and also the Geshe-mas they also have to do tantric studies. Yeah, actually they don't. It's a choice, but many of them choose to do. So this is actually the fifth set of graduates from the tantric studies program. So in February 2025, 9 Geshe-mas graduated from a year-long tantric study. So this is like the fifth batch. Yeah, they first started in 2017, and it was an initiative by the Tibetan Nuns Project. So when you study Tantric Buddhism, it actually enhance your understanding in Tibetan Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism, which is actually both Sutra and also Tantra. And this is very significant because it was a Buddhist training that was previously only open to men, yeah. So this is a remarkable achievement, and it's a fifth batch, and this is what I would say continuous improvement. And then another good news is since so it is like the first group of Kenmos enthroned at Sakya College for Nuns 2022 also. So this is so what is a Kenmo first? So Kenmo is a equivalent to a PhD in Buddhist philosophy. So after studying many years, then they get they have to take the examination, oral and also written, and then they are awarded the degree. So what does the degree actually mean? It actually signifies that you are good in your academic studies, and also not only good in academic, but you also are spiritually mature and you've got leadership qualities. So on 14 June 2022, so these nuns became Kenmos, and they are from the Sakya College in Dehradun, Uttarakhand, India. So what is the role of Kenmos? So basically, like Geshe-mas and all, their role is to preserve and disseminate Buddhist teachings. So the Geshe-mas are basically from the Gelug tradition, right? The Sakya tradition, Kagyu tradition, Nyingma are all the Kenmos, yeah. So they have got different titles, but actually it is different. It is the highest in their own spiritual tradition, the academic studies. So they are actually very important. By them becoming Kenmos, they're actually showing other nuns and women. You know, they serve as role models and mentors for future generations of nuns. And then also once they teach, they actually the way women teach and the way men teach, maybe there is a difference. And then they are inspiring more women in the future. And these are the three ones, yeah. Kenmo Kunga Balden, Kenmo Kunga Wutse, and Kenmo Ngawang Yanga from Nepal. All three are from Nepal, but they studied in India. So there is another one which I wanted to talk to you about is Tokdenma. So Tokdenma is like yogini, you know. So yogini is, yogini is a female meditator. Yeah, they are not necessarily nuns alone. So yogini can be nuns and also not nuns. So here we are talking about yogic practitioners, female in the Drukpa Kagyu lineage. So they have to have many years of very strict training, yeah, and they have to spend many years in retreat to attain spiritual realizations. And the tradition was almost lost, yeah, and now it is being revived by Jetsuma Tenzin Palmo at her nunnery, Dongyu Gatseling Nunnery in Himachal Pradesh, India. So the dedication of the nuns, they're actually dedicated to achieving high levels of spiritual realization. And this Tokdenmas in the past, and also of course the very fact that the name is Tokdenma, Tokden is for male and Tokdenma for female, they're respected for their deep commitment and discipline. So who are those Tokdenmas? Jetsuma Tenzin Palmo, like Tokdenma archers, senior yogini, yeah, at Tashijong Kampagar Monastery. So she's one of those who trained the nuns. So then it culminated in this historic event on October 17, 2024. 4 nuns from the Dongyu Gyaltsing Nunnery received their red and white robes after 16 years of retreat. 16, yeah? Is it continuous? I think it's a continuous one, 16. They didn't break in between, is it? Yeah. So the significance, yeah, is very significant because it's actually they have an official recognition of Tokdenma, which is not which was lost. Yeah, men have their Tokden lineage, but female, their lineage was broken. Yeah, so now it's re-established by Jesoma Tenzin Palmo at the request of the 8th Kamtrul Rinpoche. So this is the event. Yeah, so this is Jesoma Tenzin Palmo. She has been to Malaysia also. So this is Tokden. This is like a male Tokden. You see the hair very long, yogis, in the Himalayas. And the equivalent is the lady in front of you here. She is receiving her robes, yeah. And this is a very significant thing because it means that they are very highly accomplished spiritual practitioners, very, very great meditators, yeah. And then in Bhutan, it just recently, this one only last month, yeah, very fresh from the oven. So 19 February 2025, Gelsin Tulku Rinpoche bestowed the title of Mahayogini to 4 female practitioners. But unfortunately, I didn't have time to download their photographs. You did send me, but I didn't have time to put it together. So this is actually a recognition after a strict 12-year retreat in Bhutan. So it's like you have parallels between the Tok Denma and the Mahayoginis, yeah. So what did they study? They actually studied, they trained in the 6 yogas of Naropa and Mahamudra. And just now we talked about the great yogi Milarepa. They trained in his tradition, yeah. And then, of course, in 2023, now we talk about events for you and me. Not only for monks, not only for nuns, not only for, monastics, but for us, all of us. So it's called the Sakyadhita International Conference. So the 18th one, they're already 18, first started in 1995, is it? No, 1991. Yeah, you started attending from 1995, is it? Yeah, okay. So every 2 years they have this conference, yeah. And the previous one, the immediate one, was held in Seoul, June 23 to 27, 2023. And how many people attend? 3,000, yeah, monastics, lay women, dignitaries from across the world. And what is the purpose of Sakyadhita? It's a platform for sharing our experiences. Even you can come, yeah. If you have any research, if you have any findings, if you have anything to say, you just apply and then you submit a paper. Yeah. And or if you just want to learn more about the condition of Buddhist women and want to meet Buddhist women from other countries, that is a wonderful opportunity, and also experience their lives. So it's actually, the aim is to improve our lives, all of our lives. Whether you are in Malaysia, you are Thailand, you are India, wherever, Africa, wherever you are, US, yeah, it's meant for all of us. And not only women also, men also. So this is a snapshot from the Sakyadhita 2023. And then see that, so this is how, the nuns come and then they chant together from different traditions, different countries, ordained high bhikkhuni and non-bhikkhuni, all come together. And guess what? In June this year, in Sarawak, we will be having the 19th Sakyadhita International Conference. So the title for the conference this year is Navigating Change, Buddhist Women in Transition. So it will be held in Kuching, Sarawak, and the registration is still open. Early bird discount 31st March 2025. So you can actually type Sakyadhita International Conference, Sakyadhita 2025, and you will find the registration page. Yeah. Otherwise, you can write to me, and I will give the guidance. Yeah. And then from the Theravada tradition also, not only Tibetan tradition. Yeah, you have heard enough of Tibetan. So now let's celebrate some accomplishments from our Theravada Bhikkhuni, our sisters, yeah. So in 2022, yeah, October 2022, 6 Bangladeshi Theravada women were fully ordained as Bhikkhunis in their, what they call that, country, yeah. So this historic event marked a significant step in the recognition and empowerment of Buddhist women in Bangladesh. So you see, the problem is that because Theravada Bhikkhuni lineage died out, so one by one now, so Sri Lanka, we have Bhikkhunis in Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand under Venerable Dhammananda, so in Malaysia, we have Bhikkhunis Sumangala, who's also taking the lead, and other Bhikkhunis. In India, in Indonesia, there's Ayah Santini, and then in Vietnam, there's Bhikkhuni Hupap. So many. So this is a snapshot from the event. So the first international Theravada Bhikkhuni ordination in Bangladesh. And you might be thinking that Bangladesh is a Muslim country and all, but they have a significant Buddhist community, especially in the Chittagong Hill Tribe area. And then also there are some non-Himalayan nuns. Myself included is a non-Himalayan nun. So meaning that where do I fall? So when you talk about Himalayan Tibetan nuns, you always look at people from Tibet, Bhutan, India, like Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh. But there are also others like Jesuma Tenzin Palmo, and Bhikkhuni, 15 children, etc. Venerable Kamalek Shitsomo. I can't see. Yeah, this one I can't see so well. So basically, we have so many nuns and also lay women who are very, very accomplished throughout the Buddhist world and helping our sisters to, you know, to transcend their gender limitation. Yeah. So basically, since Tibetan Buddhism is still in its infancy countries, so the support structure for monks like us is lacking. Yeah. So we don't have nunneries like in Malaysia. We don't have. So there's a lot of sectarian differences. People ask me where you're Gelug, you're Sakya, you're Kaju, you're Nyingma. Very difficult. Huh? And then also because people think that we are lesser monastics because we don't stay in the nunneries, because we don't have nunneries. And then also basically want to survive also I have to work like that. And many of the other nuns also work. You have many other Tibetan Buddhist nuns in this country, many of them. Most of them have to work, yeah. And also live in isolation, live in their own residence lah. They run a what they call that, an orphanage lah. Many live in their own shop house lah. And many of them are very old and they are in need of help, yeah. So if you find any sangha, not only find them in the monasteries, yeah. If you are vigilant, you see a sangha in your vicinity, go and support them, yeah. And I'm not talking about myself, yeah. Sangha need the support. So anyway, I would like to is a man or a woman, one will obtain a result. If never practice, yeah, no result will be attained. Regardless of whether one is a man or a woman, or even if one has a favorable human existence. No practice, no result lah. So, and then another Kenpo, Sultrim Jetsu said, Dakas and Dakinis, these are like, in our Tibetan tradition, we have some, like some beings, yeah, called Dakas and Dakinis. There's a difference in how their bodies may seem in apparent reality. But for Mahamudra, luminous clarity, there's not an atom of difference in their essential nature. So what this simply means is like this. Our nature, our mind is the same, whether you're man or female, Daka, Dakini, yeah, whatever it is, monk, nun, layman, laywomen, we all have the capacity to become enlightened. So I conclude now that we have had I showed several gender gaps, yeah, in Buddhism, especially Tibetan Buddhism. Basically, it's in the whole of Buddhism, I showed, yeah. So Buddhism actually, please don't misunderstand. Whatever I told you is just those exceptions to a beautiful egalitarian, equal, teaching of the Buddha. So the Buddha said all are equal. Gender is, there's, everybody is equal. But later, some selfish people, when it became institutionalized, some selfish people started dominating because they scared, that their resources will go to the nuns, etc. So they started this anti-women misogynist elements. So despite the best intentions for women's liberation from stereotyped roles, so actually the Buddha made the bhikkhuni order so that people can if you don't want to be married, you don't want to stay in the kitchen and rot, so you come to the monastery, you practice, if you have, and you become enlightened. So that is a alternative. If there is no alternative, what is the only option for women in India at that time? Was to go and be married and to stay in your husband's house. But Buddha gave an opportunity. But despite this opportunity, the lineage died out, Buddhism itself died out, and then later on monks, the nuns no more, not to be heard of. And then today we are here still talking about the same thing 2,600 years ago, whether women can be enlightened or cannot be enlightened. So what I want to tell you today is that, if you seek, you shall find, seek and you shall find. Actually, there are so many accomplished female masters, which I have told you today. The Tokdenmas, the Yoginis, the Geshe-mas, the Kenmos and all. So many, right? I pray that, they come and you can have the opportunity to meet them and then be inspired by them and then practice hard. And then you know what? You don't need to be a nun. You don't need to be a Mahayogini or a Tokdenma in order to practice. In your own home, practice with mindfulness day in and day out. Be mindful, be mindful, be mindful, be mindful. And then keep your 5 precepts. You will progress rapidly in your practice. So Do not feel that the nuns are there and we are here. There is no such thing. Even if the nuns are there, no mindfulness, you are a better practitioner. I can guarantee you that, yeah? So, because sometimes when the nuns become high or the monks become very high, then the ego comes in. That is the cause for our downfall. So you see, so it's better to be simple and humble, but at the same time accomplished. When you're very accomplished, when you're very high, you get a PhD, you get a Kenmo, you get a Tokdenma title, but must always live in simplicity and humility, and with utmost respect for everybody, and inspire and lift up the other sisters and brothers, so that all of us can attain enlightenment at the earliest opportunity. With this, I thank all my brothers and sisters. I thank Ti-Ratana Lumbini Garden. I thank Brother Rain and all the devotees of this very, very blessed center. Thank you so much. Namo Buddhaya. So we have, you want to ask any questions? We have 5 minutes before we end. Any questions are already asked? No questions? Yes. Yes. Tibetan Buddhism, we have permission from our teachers. Yeah, and in fact, His Holiness the Dalai Lama encourages us to go and serve the society. So in Mahayana Buddhism, the concept is slightly different. We call it the Bodhisattva ideal. So the Bodhisattva is not only sitting on a meditation cushion, but is going out there in the society where people are suffering. That's where we practice. We help in, it's like we help on the ground from the grassroots. So you will see the Sangha amid the suffering people, which is where the Sangha is needed the most. There are a lot of Sangha in the monastery and the nunneries already, but very, very few are there out there helping and inspiring the people. So we don't want the Sanghas to be in the ivory tower where they are completely cut off from the grassroots. So the teachers give us permission. His Holiness the Dalai Lama said, go and become doctors, go and become Tibetan doctors, go and become modern doctors, go and become lecturers and all. So we see nuns colleges, we see Buddhist colleges, we see so many Sangha, women and men, monks and nuns teaching in different colleges, and also working in different places as counselors, as Tibetan, traditional doctors, etc. So these are the areas where you will see Sangha. Of course, not in the butcher shop lah. You not selling meat and all these things. So the forbidden livelihood the Sangha is not doing. Yeah, but wherever there is right livelihood, the Sangha should be expected to be there to help sentient beings. Yeah, so that's how. Because nowadays we don't do pindapat anymore. So how are we going to come in across with the laity? If you don't invite me for Dhamma talk, I will never see you, right? So the Sangha must be visible so that the people will see, okay, this is what a Sangha, and inspires others through one's body, speech, and mind. And Venerable also wants to say something. Yes.
And also in the other traditions as well in Theravada, like in Thailand and all, now we can see that so many are also coming out working. They're going to the universities, getting the degrees, and then after that they also go out into the society, which we call it as engaged Buddhism, and which this one is very much like encouraged by our teachers and all. So likewise in the Theravada and all, also they are now practicing Mahayana. They also do this, I think, in their own way. From the very beginning, they have been cooking and serving the people, especially in the Tzu Foundation and all. You see that the nuns also do a lot of things, not only the lay people. So the Tzu master also said that if you don't do a work for one day, then no food. So which means the Sangha also have to do a lot of work. No work, no eat is her slogan. Yeah, the philosophy of Tzu Master Cheng Yen. Master Cheng Yen. So in terms of Pindapat, ours also we have the tradition, but we don't go it on the daily basis like in the Theravada. we go like during the harvest time, and then whatever we have received from the harvest, the raw material, then we sustain it for 1 year or whatever, until whenever the food lasts, and then do their practice. And when that one is finished, they go back. But even if we go for the Pindabat in Theravada, also attended with the nuns in Thailand and all. We visit them quite often. And then the nuns are not given like the monks, the cooked food and all. They still have to do the cooking and all, even if they have to go. So it is better that they start doing their own work. So many of them do the, get the higher education, and then they start coming out to do the work. Yeah.
Any other lingering questions? Ask, yeah? Because your questions are very good, very profound. Just we can take, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. All right. So in that case, we will do a dedication. So so maybe we can recite from the puja book. A simple short dedication. Sorry, 139 now. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, but I want something else. Let me find, yeah. Let me find something simple. Where is it? This. Okay, never mind. I will do. But if you can find, please find. But I can't find it. So, and time is of the essence. So I will do a dedication. Yeah. Sabbitiyo vivajantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavantavantarayo sukhi digayuko bhavatu sabba mangalam rakhantu sabba devata sabbe buddhanubhavena sada sote bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalam rakhantu sabba devata Sabbe Dhammanubhavena sada suti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalam rakhantu sabba devata sabbe sanghanu bhavena sada suti bhavantu te nakatayakha bhutanang papagaha nivaranang parittasanubhavena Antutizang upadave etavata cha ammehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva sabbe bhuta sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiya akasatta jabummata deva naga mahidika Punyang tam anumoditva cirang rakhantu lokasasanang akasatta jabummata deva naga mahidika Punyang tam anumoditva cirang rakhantu desanang akasatta jabummata deva naga mahidika punyang tam anumoditva cirang rakhantu mang paranti. So we dedicate marriage to our departed relatives and friends. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idang me nyati nang hotu Sukita hontu nyatayo idang me nyati nang hotu Sukhita hontu Nyatayo Imina punyakamena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu Yava nibbana patiya Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katam achayam kamame bante Puripanyaptatagata Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katam achayam kamame bante Puripanyaptatagata Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katam Achayam kamame bante buripanya tatagata. So whatever negative, anything that I've said that is wrong, said or did that we did anything wrong, yeah. So I seek forgiveness from the audience and also from the Buddha Dhamma and Sangha.